Gecko, I just love being able to file a claim under 2 minutes with the Geico app. Could you sign up?
Sign what? The app?
Yeah.
Sure.
Oh, it rubbed off the screen when I touched it. Could you sign up again?
Anything to help, I suppose. Get more than your savings. Get more with Geico.
All right, everyone. It is 2:58. I am live on both platforms. So, Dr. Fryson here. We have officially going live. And it's hot outside. Let me just tell y'all. Hair hot. No. Now, how about this other app is acting all crazy, trying to get me to have people to host with me. Live. Cancel. All right, I had to cancel the first live because on TikTok, y'all know TikTok doing too much, trying to get me to have people go as a host with me, co-host, and I got to be careful with the TikTok. Uh, so yeah, but since the majority of my clients come from YouTube and TikTok, I'm going live on these platforms. Facebook is third. So, and I know I have not been live on Facebook in, oh, I don't know, probably a year. I don't know how long it's been. So, anyway, I want to start by saying thank you to everyone who is here. I appreciate you joining my live. For those of you who remember, but this is going to be on YouTube. So, here now, you can follow me later. Um, YouTube people, I know for sure you guys should be able to hear me clearly and may not be able to hear my music because my microphone, my camera, it does a phenomenal job at filtering out background noise. TikTok, I hope you guys can hear me on my music. So if I just start randomly dancing or moving, it's because the music is on. Okay, so before we get started, I just want to send a lot of blessings and prosperity to those of you who are out there in the internet cyber realm. Okay, I've had to go outside several times, so it's hot. So you see this extra glistening, all this sweat, nothing compared to the work that I was doing last night because I'm working on my apothecary, my healing center space, and it was a lot of work, right? So for those of you who do know, Dr. Fryson, natural health and healing practitioner, herbal scientist, shaman, guru, counselor, therapist, a lot of different things, right? For those of you who are new to me, this is who I am. And I live in an RV full time. And that's what you see right now. It's an RV. See, I pull this up, you see RV. Okay. I live in an RV full time and I make most of my healing products, spiritual and otherwise, in the RV. Now, I have an actual space where I'm able to house all of my extra things, my supplies, my products, and things of that nature. But when I'm on the road, I have to carry a certain amount of things with me. And I'm going to show you guys the limited things that I have. This is why I cannot always show you a product that I have because I don't have it with me. Now, I'm very fortunate that I have this wonderful, wonderful son. I have two sons, but I have this one son that if I need help with my different businesses, he helps me with those businesses. For instance, I have a notary business and he's a notary as well. So I can still maintain my notary business while I'm in Georgia, while I'm in North Carolina, while I'm in other parts of Florida, while I'm, wherever. My son still is able to maintain that business, which the great thing is he's able to do that because he has his own business. So if I need someone to actually help me with shipping out some things he can ship out some things for me when I'm not there. So if I did nothing else right in this world, I did a good job with him. I love him. And I love my bonus son and my bonus daughter. Yes, I have bonus son, bonus daughter, and bonus grandchildren. All right. Hey, my friend, I see you over there. Thank you so much. I'm on two platforms, so just saying, and I'm in the daytime, so I'm on two platforms. And unlike you, I'm not a professional at this going live stuff because you are great with it. So okay, so the point of the live is so that I can interact with you guys who have questions about some of the products that I offer, some of the services that I offer. So I'm gonna, and I don't have any of my books with me right now because they are already in the actual apothecary. So if you're looking for my books, they're all on Amazon. Every last one of them are on Amazon. I do have another book launching. Actually, I have two more books launching, and so those aren't out there yet, but those are requested, and they are completely spiritual books, just so you know, because I have people who want me to teach about my practice, and my practice falls into the category of root work. And it's not what you would think of as root work because, as I've made in one of my videos, some people think root work is cutting a chicken foot, and I do know some people who do that. Mine isn't. So if you come to me for something and I give you scriptures and I give you rituals and things and to do, my work is different and effective. So it is what it is with that, which is great. But it's just can't be compared to what other people do. So welcome everybody who's joining on either platform. I'm just going to say that now in the middle of this, there's a person who's going to miss my live, and then you're going to come back and say, why didn't you remind me? I sent the video days ahead of time saying I was going live. So, and I know you have lots of questions. You're always asking questions. My disclaimer is I prepare. I told everybody ahead of time. All right. So let's go get into the things that I make. Let's start with my spiritual things because it's easiest for me to say that. Um, and maybe now y'all can hear my draws with my chakra energy because I do chakra work. I do chakra healing. If you see chakra right behind me, I'm a Reiki master. So I'm a Reiki master, and I actually have a table in my healing center where I see clients and we realign the energies, right? From our crown down to our feet or parts in between based on what a person is going through. A lot of my clients in the Florida market come to me because they're dealing with anxiety and depression, relationship issues, and trauma. And we do a lot of trauma healing. We do color therapy. We do a lot of different things. And that's my whole separate counseling practice, right? So that is something that I do. I do virtually and I do it in person. I only do it in person in Florida. So when I'm in Florida, I see clients in person. And I have a lot of clients in Florida and Georgia for those services. So since I'm in those two places a lot, Florida and Georgia, I get to see them in person in Florida, and then I get to actually do virtual consults with the ones in Georgia. But with that practice, I have clients on the West Coast, the California area. I have clients in Canada. No clients in Africa right now. I would like to get a client in Africa. I want y'all to know if you're out there, I would like a client in Africa, just so you know. So I'm going to pause this just for a moment to make sure you guys can hear this next part. So I do a lot of spiritual practices. People come to me a lot because they want to understand what's happening in their life and they want to get past situations. I deal with a lot of trauma. People come to me for a lot of trauma. And I know that's because I've been traumatized in my life, right? So I am a clear being. So I have many clear gifts. I can interpret dreams. I have the ability to hear things and foresee things. I see spirits. I interact with spirits. I do a lot of things like that. And I have been doing that for 48, 49 years. Okay. So we're not going to get into the rehash of all of that stuff. So that's just all spiritual stuff. I make spiritual products. Um, I do, I break soul ties and I counsel people through that. And I help people with their unions who are starting unions new. And some of you may have seen that I posted that video about being married 5 times. Marriage is a business for me, but I am very well aware of what it takes to put people together and take them apart. Because I've had to do that because people keep going back to the same person. Why are you going back to them? It's karmic. It's because you have a soul tie you've created, and now you're stuck in a toxic situation and you can't get out. You can't stop thinking about them. Well, I do things like that. And I do protection, home protection energy, to spare you from situations like the things that are coming. Okay. I also do predictions just randomly because when you guys have all these questions, I get these extra downloads. So sometimes you'll see a video with those. Okay. So that's that. Now, let's get into the other side of what I do. I am a traveling herbalist healer, right? So I make things to help people heal. And I'm going to show you some of those things. And if anybody has a question, I am going to answer your questions. Now, I'm going to show you what I'm drinking. I'm drinking a smoothie. This smoothie is made with some fruit and with one of my teas. And I'm going to show you the tea. And I wanted to show this because I have clients who get my teas and they're like, there's no sugar in it. It's supposed to heal you. I'm not putting any sugar in the tea. Sugar causes inflammation. There's a time to use sugar and a time not to use sugar. Of course, you can use sugar in my sugar scrubs, right? But if you're dealing with your organs, which I'm all into organ health and trying to mitigate those. Side note, diagnosed with lupus 2017. I've had a lot of organ issues, okay? So when you get my teas, they're not going to come with sugar. Unless you get my lemonades, which of course are only during the summer, where I make my teas into lemonade, and I do ship those, and people go crazy for those. So you get the healing in that form. So I'm going to show you guys this. This is Uroflow. Uroflow is the tea that I use for kidney health. If anybody has lupus, you guys know that your kidneys are impacted. I have several clients. Almost all of my lupus clients have kidney dysfunction. So the scientist part of me is I literally am a scientist, like with an actual degree. And I know about kidney function on a detailed level. And beyond that, I was married to a dialysis patient and experienced a whole eye-opening time with him of seeing the dialysis process and seeing how some people are on dialysis who don't really need to be on dialysis, because what happens in healthcare, which I've worked healthcare for 32, almost 33 years. I am 2 months away from 33 years. And those people normally, they send you to dialysis so quickly without trying to do the work to help your kidneys repair. I have to say that with all of my clients that I've worked with, no one has come back to 100% functionality. However, there's stages to kidney failure. So you can be at stage 5 and reverse back to stage 3 or stage 2 or stage 1. One of those stages where you don't have to have dialysis. At stage 5B, you are having dialysis. That's it, right? So I created this for myself and for my father, who was, and my father, so my father is a cancer survivor twice, and I've worked with a lot of different aspects of helping him through his healing journey. And when my father was told that he was in stages of kidney failure, different stages and things like that, I used my knowledge to create a book to help him reverse that, to get back to where he didn't have to have dialysis. And then I created this tea for him and for myself. No, decline. I'm not co-hosting with anybody. All right. I ain't co-hosting with y'all. I don't know who y'all are. All right. So then I myself, being a lupus person, have issues that have occurred with my kidneys to the fact of I was having a lot of swelling. I have circulatory issues because I had a pulmonary embolism, right? So the pulmonary embolism came from a DVT, deep vein thrombosis. That's a blood clot. I've had a blood clot in both of my legs, two in one of my legs. And once you have a blood clot, your circulation in your legs is never the same, right? And even if you can get circulation better, and I have all these different things that I do for that, it's never going to be the way it was prior to that point, right? So I made this tea to help my kidneys function better, to eliminate the waste that they're supposed to eliminate, and to help me not have as much swelling in my legs and my feet. So I, although I like this tea as it is, because I'm going to show you. Let me show you this. I have this refrigerator. I drink this tea every day. So when you drink this tea, this is what it looks like. I like it just as it is, but I know I don't drink as much of it. So in order to drink more of it, I started putting it in my smoothies instead of regular water and discovered that it actually tastes good. So I'm getting the tea along with my smoothies, which is literally like just fruit, no sugar or anything like that. Okay. So this tea helps with the kidney flowing. How do you know that it's helping? Do you guys know how often you're supposed to use the bathroom, how often you're supposed to pee? Let me tell you, when you have a dog and you're potty training a dog, let's think of it in these terms. When a dog eats and consumes their liquids, you're supposed to wait 30 minutes and have them walk around. And then when they walk around, they're going to go to the bathroom. So just think to yourself, if you're eating and drinking liquids all day long and you're not going to the bathroom, chances are you have some sort of kidney impairment, because you are supposed to eliminate, if the kidneys are working appropriately, if the liver's working appropriately, if these organs, because they work together, if they're working appropriately, you're going to go to the bathroom after you actually eat and drink. Some people go more than others, which is another sign of a dysfunction. That's a whole different separate thing, because if you have too much output, then you're not retaining nutrients that you're supposed to retain, right? So, and the other thing, if you go to the bathroom and you notice that your actual kidneys are, your urine that you put out is cloudy, you also have infections and things of that nature. So I make this for to help with the kidneys, uroflow tea. That's one thing. Another tea that I make, this is ashwagandha. So when I tell you guys that I have all my herbs, I have cabinets filled with herbs just so that I can mix things appropriately. So this right here is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha helps because it does help with reducing fluids, but it helps with the hormones. And that's another function of organ dysfunction. If your hormones are not actually functioning properly, then the kidneys, they don't work, because if there's cascades of how things flow together. Just like if a person's a diabetic, most people think that a person's a diabetic because they're obese. And I've seen this on Rihanna's app. That's not correct. Skinny people are diabetics, right? And it's not because you eat too much sugar. It is because the pituitary gland is defective and not able to help you with the insulin that you're putting out. And your ability to, like when you put out insulin, drops, your body keeps making too much or don't make enough. That is a pituitary gland issue, which is also tied to hormones, which is why normally when people get older in the 40s and 50s, you start seeing people being diagnosed as a type 1 diabetic, because they have spent years of eating and consuming things and damaging the pituitary gland and messing up their hormones, not just with the food we consume, but with the other chemicals that we put on our skin, which people don't realize that, the places where we go where the air pollution is bad. And so then that gland is not working appropriately, and therefore we end up being diabetics. That's how it happens. Now, most people don't care about that. They only want to know how to reverse it. Well, you got to reverse it at different levels. One, ashwagandha is something that you can add. Two, you can add this hormone support tea, because you have to help your body restore the hormones. For women, of course, especially Black women, we know that vitamin D deficiency is also an issue, which is why I tell my clients to sit outside for 15 minutes a day. Even my lupus clients, who we know have a hard time being in the sun, sit outside for 15 minutes a day. Thank you to everyone who's joining. I see you, Tracy, Shanice. I see you guys, Andrea, Sid, SYD. I see you guys. So for my lupus people, you know you have a problem. Most lupus people have a problem with the sunlight. It zaps your energy. And I know because I was there completely. I could not go outside. However, in my practice with my PhD, one of the things that we learned from the natural aspect of things is that sometimes the cure is the poison. So sitting outside for 15 minutes will help your body become used to the actual sun and also give you the activation of the vitamin D. Now, for those of you with lupus, you might have to go lie down after you sit outside for 15 minutes. That was what used to happen to me. I would go outside and then I had to go to sleep for 2 hours. That was it. I was over. I was done. Now I don't necessarily have to go to sleep for 2 hours, but I do. I'm like, ooh, I'm glowing. It's kind of hot. Okay. So this hormone tea helps with balancing the hormones for that. Now I'm an herbalist. So I give this disclaimer to everyone. Contrary to popular belief of all the people who own all these apps, Rihanna's app, Beyonce's app, telling y'all these lies that all herbs are good. All herbs are not good. I come from a line of shamans. My grandfather was a shaman in the 1800s with an herbal shop. And let me tell you, well, my great grandfather, and let me tell you guys, herbs also are used to cause harm. So if you have an enemy, you can give them a lot of a certain herb and it would, yeah. Okay, y'all know I can't say that on these apps. They don't let me say that on these apps. If you are on certain medications, like I was on 8 different medications, and you are taking, let's just say turmeric and ginger. I was on medication that already thinned my blood. Turmeric and ginger in combination with a bunch of other factors also thinned my blood. What do you think was happening to me? I was bruising easily. I fall. I have all these horrible internal bleeding, like petechiae. It's bruising underneath the skin because I was on an overdose of what I needed to thin my blood. Let me talk about sea moss because I do have sea moss, and I don't put sea moss out there for people for a reason. Because if you have a clotting disorder, sea moss could actually interfere and cause you to clot more. I'm saying that because a lot of people just take things, and I'm a proponent of sea moss. I recommend sea moss because it does have minerals, but this is why you need an herbal consultation before you just start taking everything that everybody else is out there pushing. I got people who are like, oh, here, take this for you to lose weight. We're going to take this green tea, and you have a problem to the green tea, or if one person had a problem to black tea. So you need to know what's in the different formulas before you just start taking it. Let me show you this tea and this other tea. So what happens is when I have clients that come to me who need specialties, I do make specialties for them. And that's how I end up with things like this. This tea is fire flow tea. And this one is circulatory support tea. If you look at the jars, you see that? See how one is clear and one is not? That's because there's elements in here that are not in here, yet they both support circulation. And you have to have different elements based on the client. If you notice that you get teas from me and I say, do not use if pregnant, that's because there's an herb in there that would cause you to spontaneous abort or has the potential to cause you to spontaneous abort the fetus. And that is peppermint. Now, why am I going to tell you guys it's peppermint? Because there's a lot of people who use peppermint tea, which is very calming, which helps with a lot of different things, and then they're trying to get pregnant. If you're trying to get pregnant, I would tell you not to drink peppermint tea because it has the opposite effect or has the potential. It doesn't affect everyone that way, but it can. And if it can, all right, now I got messages coming through, but I'm not necessarily, I hear them. I hear the messages. I see you guys are joining. Thank you so much to everybody that's joining. I appreciate it. So, if you have peppermint tea and you are actively seeking to conceive and you're drinking peppermint tea every day, that might be something that seems harmless that actually could prevent you from conceiving. Again, this is why I tell my clients, yes, I have these things and they are available. I don't want you to just start taking something, right? Don't want that. Don't want you to start taking something. Now, I have over there a whole host of my teas that I, but because I want to make sure I cover some other things, I'm almost at 30 minutes. So at the next side, I'm going to cover some things that aren't tea. I'm going to give you 2 more teas, 3 more teas. Okay, let's start with immunity. Immunity is my antiviral tea, and it does have soursop in it. I have soursop in several of my teas because of the many benefits of soursop. Soursop is known to help people with cancer, right? Remember, I told you my father, a double cancer survivor. Actually, he's a breast cancer survivor, more specifically. So I have things that help. I send my father tea on a regular basis. I get all his labs and I review his labs. I review everything that's going on with him to keep him here with me, right? Because I love him. Soursop, which I do have soursop tea by itself, but there's almost no point in just drinking soursop tea when you can be so much more effective with a combination. This immunity is the version that I use. I'm gonna start dancing if I keep having the music on now, because so this immunity is the version that I use all through the pandemic for all of those people who were coming down with COVID or did not want to take the COVID shot. And of course they didn't really have anything, but they wanted to recover faster. This is the tea everybody was using. This is the tea that I also have in. I can show you up here. Okay. I also was preparing this tea in these bags. I don't like to prepare in individual bags because it's a lot of work for me and I have to charge you more money. I'd rather you get the tea like this and you make it yourself, right? But because I have small grandchildren, I have to prepare this so that anytime they get sick, they can start drinking this to recover faster. And I have to send this out to them because I can't have the little babies be sick. I love them and I don't like to see them sick. All right, so this immunity has a lot of things in it, but it has 2 ingredients that are very important for you to know about: lemongrass and soursop. Lemongrass, I told you guys about that in one of my other videos, is really good for fighting infections, viruses. Now, I'm a scientist and I don't want to go over your head with this, but your immune system is comprised of a lot of different things, including white blood cells. White blood cells really do a lot of the work in your immune system. And there's several white blood cells that support different parts of your infection, right? So I'm going to mention the main ones because any eosinophils and basophils. Oh, okay, let me just tell you about the white blood cells. Thank you guys for joining. So, if you have a bacterial infection, in addition to the other supporting crew, because no single white blood cells does anything on its own, there's an activation, a cascade process that causes it to occur. The white blood cells that are responsible for the fighting off the bacterial infection are the neutrophils. The neutrophils need to increase in order to send out a charge to fight that infection. The lymphocytes are the ones that fight off viral infection. That's why when you have a person with HIV and they're diagnosing them from HIV to full blown AIDS, they're looking at your T4 lymphocyte count because that is what fights off this replicating virus. So my immunity has lemongrass, which helps with those white blood cells, right? Because you need for them to be up in order to fight quickly. You want them to actually fight whatever disease you have quickly. Now, that being said, for those of you who have allergic reactions, the white blood cells involved are your eosinophils and your basophils, right? A lot of people who have chronic allergic reactions have too many eosinophils. And a lot of the medications that you see out there are targeted at reducing the eosinophils, which I understand why. I only have a small problem with that because when you start reducing eosinophils and white blood cells, you can reduce your white blood cell count completely or overall, which makes you more prone to other infections. That's where I have a problem. And that's why I tell people most things shouldn't be long term. You shouldn't be drinking a tea forever because you don't want to have an allergic reaction. Well, stop eating the strawberries, right? Okay. Now the next two teas I'm going to show you. One is blood moon and one is blood movement. These teas are overall body teas, which means I have a lot of different things in here. And this one I have some soursop, I have some lemongrass, I have goji berries. For those of you who are diabetics out there who need to stabilize your blood sugar, I have some goji berries in here. And actually, this is the tea, the blood movement tea is the tea that I give to my dad, who is a diabetic, who has to monitor his A1Cs constantly. So that's what this tea is, right? Because again, favorite man. So I have to make sure he's around, and we're always looking at his labs, also make sure everything is good. And I have to tell you, he's not the best at following the diet that he's supposed to follow. Who is? Who is? However, we still work to stabilize the blood sugar so that he doesn't have to take metformin, which, by the way, has been shown to increase what? What? Kidney dysfunction. And when he was on the metformin, his kidney started acting up. I told him, after being in healthcare for 30 plus years, Daddy, get off that metformin. That metformin is causing you problems. They have white papers on it. He went to a doctor. One of the doctors told him, oh, it's not the metformin. Went to the kidney specialist. The kidney specialist says, we got to get you off metformin. Okay? I say that because not all doctors know everything. That's why they have specialists. Okay? I'm a specialist in herbalism. I'm a specialist in natural health and healing. So I know different things about natural health and healing. Speaking of, when I said this is overall, there's different properties in here, I also grow things. So I grow microgreens and I grow moringa, which is used for cancer, right? And then you can use that in teas. So I grow that. Microgreens, because if you are not eating appropriately, you need extra nutrients and you need a really quick pack of nutrients. So I have broccoli, microgreens, arugula, a mixed salad, chia seeds. Chia seeds, if you're needing help with being full, have that too. Thank you guys for the like. I appreciate it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome. I thank you so much for the hearts. I appreciate it. Okay, so again, these two teas work in the same way. However, there's different ingredients because I've had clients with different situations, and I'll remove something out for a person who actually is on cancer medicine, and I'll add something in for a person who's a diabetic. Does that make sense? So, like both of these have goji berries in here. If you don't have goji berries, whew. Now I'm going to finish with these. I have so many, but I'm going to finish with these by saying I have this tea, which is lymph flow tea. This is a spicy tea. If you look, it has a lot of things in it, but I do make tea with cayenne pepper. And I make tea with cayenne pepper because if you are taking anything with turmeric in it, the curcumin in the turmeric is not activated without the pepper element. So you have to have some pepper in order for that to be effective. That's what it is. I say that because there's a lot of people taking these capsules over the counter and the capsules aren't as effective. They're like, oh, it didn't work for me. Well, of course, whenever there's something, there's people who are always going to try to get over. This is why I recommend you guys going back to the roots, right? We're rooted in healing, going back to the roots. For those of you in my community who know, one, I'm Native American, I'm African American, I'm Irish, I'm Jewish, and I've known most of this since I was a kid. Because I've been around different family members. I have some family members who are white as the driven snow, and I have some family members who are black as night, and then I have me, who's somewhere in between, right? However, I was fortunate enough to be raised in circumstances of where we use the roots, right? We use the herbs. I used to eat grass as a kid. I mean, even in Michigan, and even when we lived on a farm in Michigan. So I am dealing with root work in the sense of getting back to the grass and things of that nature, and getting back to the herbs and getting back to the fruits and the earth, right? The earth's healing. I'm not against medication because there's times when you need the medication, right? If you go in a hospital and you're dying right there, you think I'm gonna say, hey, wait, go get you some tea? That doesn't make any kind of sense. And for people who tell you that, they got a problem. So let's transition into the other things. The other things that people really love from me. Um, I have the magnesium oil, right? I like for the magnesium oil to be sold as part of my Sleepy Time package. My Sleepy Time package includes my previously Calm Your Ass Down tea. I have renamed it to Serenity, but if you're having problems sleeping, you're definitely going to have problems with your hormones. You're definitely going to have problems with your digestion because sleep is when decline. Sleep is when your body resets and heals itself, right? That's why I tell people you need to do a rest, a fasting rest, not just an abstinence from food, but an abstinence from activities so that your mind can quiet, your body can start to heal itself. I also caution against being in the bed for too long because your lymphatic system is the part of your body that helps you heal when you're up and alert. And if you aren't getting out of the bed, all that stuff becomes stagnant. So if you're in the hospital, you might notice that most of the time they will want you to get up and walk, right? Because your lymphatic system is activated when you walk. Then if you're not getting up and walk, they will put things that I actually have that I have to use at home to cause the circulation to occur in your legs. That is stimulating your lymphatic system and also reducing the blood clotting, right? That's what you're doing with that. So, because, of course, blood clotting, heart attack, strokes, death, da 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 da. So, you need to go to sleep so your body can remove toxins and things of that nature. But you don't need to sleep forever. You don't need to be just in the bed, not moving. You got to move your body, you got to activate those systems. However, I have people who are like, I can't get any sleep. I can't sleep more than 2 hours. I tell them this combination. It's actually three-part. So it's this magnesium oil, which you can spray on your neck, you can spray behind your ears, you can spray underneath your arms, and you can also spray it on the bottom of your feet. You can also use this if you have joint pain, which joint pain is because of inflammation unless you have a broken joint. Pain in your body is a sign of inflammation in that area, or it is a sign of cancer, which is a destructive eating or tumor. It just depends on where it is. But most of the pain that is occurring in your joints, your feet, and things of that nature, outside of being something like gangrene, which causes pain, some kind of a staph that causes is eating away tissue necrosis, of course, there's pain. But the inflammation is because your body's trying to fight off that whatever's happening. So you have pain in those areas. So if you have pain in your knees, you can spray this magnesium oil and that helps. I say get this packet, get this tea, get this, and get the soap. And you will be able to sleep like a baby. I have people who they said now that they use this, they can actually go to sleep. The other thing you can do is this sacred soak. This sacred soak is made of herbs, right? Ancient Egyptian times, they always took baths with herbs, not just the flower petal, sometimes the entire flower for the healing effect. They would sit in there 30 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, so that they could get the benefits of the herbs. That's why I created this sacred soap. Of course, it has Epsom salt because we know there's benefits of Epsom salt, but there's other things in here like chamomile tea. Chamomile. Thank you so much for Kat who sent me a glitter badge. I appreciate that. I don't know what it is, but I appreciate it. Thank you. Chamomile itself is a calming plant, a calming herb. So you want to, and I see something else that's in here. Cardellina. Cardellina is something that is really good at fighting off so many different infections. It's really, really good for the skin. Helps your skin to be supple, helps your skin with healing. Very, very good. Lots of different things in here. But everything that I put into my items are for healing. You would never get something from me that is just because it's cute. Nuh-uh. If you want that, you can go to all these people on here who are giving you that stuff. There's plenty of people who are doing that. They do a great job at that. You come to me and get the items from me because you're trying to correct something, right? That's what we're doing with my products. Okay. Same thing with the candles. Now, this is a rosemary vanilla candle. So candles, I do have scents. I do make candles with lots of different scents and sometimes colors. But rosemary, one, it's phenomenal for hair growth, which is why it's included in my hair growth soap. Two, it is helpful with things like psoriasis, those types of infections. And it is also, in the spiritual sense, used as a protection herb. So to protect against spiritual dangers, evil eye, things like that. So this candle serves multiple purposes. You can burn this candle while you're actually doing your soak, drinking your tea, and taking a bath with the actual tea. Oh, look at this. Well, thank you guys for that, for liking the live. I appreciate it. All right, so let's get over here to some other things that I have since we're mentioning that. Oh, by the way, I do have a protection kit for those of you on the spiritual side who want to protect your home. I have a protection kit. Ooh. Spiritual side, I have Prosperity Wash. Prosperity Wash is, of course, things to help you attract money, but it also makes your hand feel good because there's herbs in here as well. I also have for balancing your life, this is a root chakra. The root chakra, which most people kind of overlook it because everybody's so busy talking about your third eye. You know, your third eye is so important. Your sacral chakra is so important. Your root chakra is your foundation. Think of that like your feet. Think of that. Can you walk without it? No, you can't. You got to rebalance it. And a lot of people don't rebalance it. They're too busy trying to connect, and they're trying to connect with no foundation. And so then they get all these downloads that are horrible, not correct, giving false information, false prophecies, and all that stuff because they're not grounded. They're not connected. And you can grounding by going outside is a big trend right now, and it's phenomenal, a great thing to do. But you can also ground inside with those things. So back to something else that I have. This is, we spoke about rosemary. This is my crown root hair growth oil. Sea moss is also great for hair growth. And I've had clients who purchase my sea moss and wash their hair with the sea moss. And those of you who know, I think in the middle of the pandemic, before I was really on TikTok, I was sharing those pictures on my other social media platforms. I'm Dr. Fryson on Facebook as well. So I've shared those pictures of those clients, and one day I might find them to share with you. And this is different case. This is our Caucasian. This is our African. These are different hair types. But the sea moss, because it has nutrients and you're missing nutrients, it's putting back between 92 and 96 nutrients in your body. And those nutrients cause the hair to grow and be fuller. This is my crown root oil, and it's made of a lot of different oils. And there, you do have to shake it up because there's things in it actively. And you use this in your hair, actually, or the hair. Use the dropper; it has a dropper, and you actually put that in your hair. But you use this in combination with my crown root soap. So initially, when I was diagnosed with lupus, mind you, growing up, I had long hair all my life, and I've lost my hair on three different occasions. The first occasion was when I was pregnant with my son, and they gave me the epidural shot. Side effect of the epidural shot is that you lose your hair. Most women lose the hair around here, right? The crown here of your head. You lose your hair about around your front of your hair. Most people lose the hair right around here when they receive the epidural. Not me, because I'm always special. I lost my hair and the top of my head. So much, in fact, my son's father, Rance, was a cosmetologist, and he was able to cut my hair because my hair was just shedding, falling out in droves, and kind of shape my hair to where you didn't notice the bald spot that it had formed here. At that time, I was not fully into herbalism, so we just did that and let it go. But in 2017, lupus, blood clot, gave me medication, almost killed me in the hospital. Um, Hair falls out in droves, and I had long hair. So I, at that point, was an herbalist, but I was also, doing things. I wasn't taking all my products on a regular basis because I was caught up in other things. I had a job that took a lot of my time, so I wasn't really focused. So my hair was like probably about like here, very thin. So my hairdresser, when she was like, "Oh my God, your hair's just coming out." I mean, I would get up and do this, and my hair would come out. Like I was on cancer medication because, of course, some of the medication for lupus is like cancer medication. So I said, "No, no, no, not having this. Not gonna go through that." We started locking my hair back then, and my locks would not take. My hair would be falling out. They have to try to put them together. And I'm laughing now, but at the time it was horrible. And it was horrible because I grew up in a family to where hair was important and hair was valued. And so my grandmother, who taught me to not cut my hair, was, and this is, she actually died that year. My grandmother passed that year. However, my grandmother, was one who taught me the value of, and I'm getting the soap, so if you guys don't know, taught me to, to keep my hair for a lot of different reasons. So, and my ex-husband really liked my long hair. I did not realize that he was attracted to my hair so much until I started losing it. Got rid of him. But I made this. I made a soap, which is my crown root soap. And you can wash your hair with the actual bar of soap. And I did not make the oils. I made the soap. I'm not a fan of washing my hair because it takes a lot. My hair was thick. It always required a lot. So I washed my hair and I literally just had to lay out and just let it dry. Now, my hairdresser would take and put my hair back together to make to where I would even have one of these little sections. And so I will end up, and I have pictures. So on all my other social medias, I have pictures of those times 7 years ago when my hair is like this and it's thin and you see all my scalp, right? So then fast forward, I was using sea moss as well, but then I had a clotting issue. So I was like, can't use sea moss. So this is in 2020. And in the 2020 is during the pandemic. So my hair was growing, and you see my hair is growing, right? See how long my hair is, right? So, and of course, people like your hair, men, and most people with locks for this length of time, it's damaged, thin, or whatever. See, I'm gonna get up close. Right now, it has grown some more. So now, all I have to do is to take this, mix it up, and this is really how I mix it up. I do that. I don't do the little gentle stuff. I'm doing the gentle stuff because the scientist in me, we have to mix like this, right? Because this is really how you actually get something to dissolve appropriately and not break up too much. And then you open this dropper up and you put that down your scalp, different sides, and you massage it in. And you do that 3 times a week, right? Now, if you have locks, this is I tell people be careful with this because it also makes your hair soft, which means your locks will grow out if you're overdoing it, and then they won't be like in the lock area. If you're in the new stages of locking your hair, I would not recommend you using this because your locks are not going to, they're going to be, your hair's going to be growing, it's not going to be locking. Now, for those of you who have 4C hair and you have those little babies, you can use this to help with washing the little baby's hair and making it not be so tough for you to comb out and hurt the baby's head. Because we all know, because I've been there, combing that hair is not fun. So that's really good for that. Now, rosemary is in that. Okay. Another thing that I have is body butter. This is not body butter like those whipped ones I see people be doing that's just so cute and stuff. So when you have PAD, which is a circulation disorder, you find that you don't necessarily get as much of good circulation to your feet, and your feet become drier because there's not as much circulation there. And you want to prevent that, right? And you want to prevent the loss of feeling in your feet. And you want to prevent neuropathy, right, in your feet. So, as a person who had, of course, multiple blood clots, and diabetics also have this problem, and some people who survive heart attacks can have this problem. People with pulmonary embolisms, of course, because DVT have this problem. You can use this body butter, and the body butter you take in, of course, and this is my personal one, by the way. I have my own ones. and then you take and you use this and you put it on your feet. I recommend doing it when you get out the shower, as you're lying in the bed recovering from taking a shower. Okay, that's just me. Just me. You put this body butter on, and for me, like my toes, my big toes always hurt. I have bone spurs. Now I used to be a runner, and I have bone spurs, 7 bone spurs, and actually on my heel you can see one of the bone spurs because it shows through my skin. And no, I'm not having the surgery to carve them off. However, they hurt, and when I do a lot of walking and traveling, they will hurt a lot. So I would put this on those areas just to get some relief. So that's what I do. That's me. So that's what this body butter is for, right? It has a smell, and that's because of the herbs that are in it. It's herbal infused, and herbal infusion means that you take whatever oil you're using and you allow it to sit in the herbs. And most of the time, you have to let it sit outside, which takes weeks for it to cure. So it's a long process, and that's also why my products are made in small batches. And when I say I'm out of something, it's going to take a while. Hey, is that my family? Maybe. But anyway, it's going to take a while to make the products because something might have to cure for 2 to 3 weeks. You can't rush that process, right? So if it has to cure for 2 to 3 weeks in the sun, just like growing my microgreens, I can't have microgreens ready the next day if all of my trays are empty. It takes 10 days before microgreens are ready to harvest. Okay. So I, of course, constantly try to each weekend make a new product, put a new thing in line to where I don't have a lot of time of things not being ready. But again, I'm working from my RV. So I have limited space. I have to pick and choose. When I go home to my apothecary, I drop some things off or I start some things that I know have to sit a while, but I can't just ride around with those with me because there's limited space. Okay, so we're almost out of our time. I'm going to mention the soap. I have a psoriasis soap. If I might have a psoriasis soap, I might be out of it. Oh, ooh, ooh, ooh. This soap, Scalp Serenity. This is a really good soap. So remember when I was saying that you guys can go to sleep? Wash your hair with this Scalp Serenity soap. Relieve stress. Use it in combination with my sleepy time. So good. You'll sleep really well. Another one of my soaps is the psoriasis soap that people with eczema that people sleep well with that. I just got another review from someone who's using, let's see, it is this one. By the way, my soaps are normally pretty because I like pretty soaps. I don't like just a big old chunk of bar soap. I like for it to be cute. So I use molds that make my soap cute. So one of my clients who's using this turmeric, and this is my kojic acid, so I call it Aura Glow. This is turmeric and kojic acid soap. She sent me a picture yesterday, and I haven't posted her picture because I haven't made the edits. I got a lot going on right now. But she told me, and this has different herbs in it. She told me that when she took her bath, she just used this on her face underneath her eyes. Because prior to this, I have not recommended my clients use it in the eye area. I have people who are using it on the side because they want to get rid of the dark mark that a lot of diabetics have. So that's what I was having them use it for in the face, not necessarily under the eyes. But this client's eyes were puffy due to excessive stress, lack of sleep, or whatever. So they, on their own, decided to use it there and sent me the picture going, oh my God, look what happened. Right. So again, I don't use anything by my eyes because also I have medication that damaged my eyes. So I'm really conscious of what I put around my eyes. Now, putting it in places like the dark areas of your neck helps, or made that video showing you guys my hand where I had that little psoriasis area, and now look, it's blended in with my hand. Y'all can't even tell. That's what this soap is for. Dark spots, blemishes, stuff like that, to help correct that. Of course, I have other things in here to help with the inflammation. Redness in the face is inflammation. Those of us who have been diagnosed with lupus, they have a butterfly rash that goes right around here. Inflammation here, and it gets all red. That's what this soap is for. Now, you guys, when y'all tell me all this stuff, I'm like amazed at what you use the products for, and I appreciate you letting me know, even if that wasn't my initial intent of the product. I have so many soaps, my gracious. I want to see if I can get the one. I don't know if I have any of the other one left. Oh, let me show you this soap. This soap is my initial herbal formula soap that I made. And I've made this recipe, I don't even know how long. I've made this recipe, I want to say 2018 with this one. What is it doing? Oh, okay. Well, drag the puzzle piece. All right, y'all. Live on TikTok is having me do some crazy stuff here. What did it say? Drag the puzzle piece. Okay. Live on TikTok. I'm gonna have to get off in a moment. Anyway, I was only gonna do an hour anyway. But I want to tell you guys about this one. This is my everyday, all day bar soap that I use, and it's real simple with some herbs in it, some actual tea in it, and this is the only thing that I have really in those square, right? And I don't even think this is on my website. I have a lot of things that aren't on my website, but of course I've shown you guys the Aura Glow soap. I've shown you, excuse me, my Purity and Protect olive oil and tea tree oil antifungal action soap. Somewhere in there I have my psoriasis soap and all of this. I have that soap there. I have I have other soaps that I've made specifically for people because as an herbalist, someone will call me and they say I have this going on. I'll make a batch for that person. Those soaps are not necessarily on my website because those people normally order the soap again. Um, when I make a small batch of soap, it has to be, I think it's 6 bars of soap. It's that batch. I don't normally make more than 20 bars of soap at a time because again, the soap has to cure. The body buddy has to cure. It all, so that means it has a time that it has to just sit and get hard. And if I'm making soap from scratch, it involves acid, and I have to do it outside. All right. So that's it. That's an hour today for my first, not my first, but it's been a while since I've done TikTok or any of these lives. It's been a while since I've done a live, but I think an hour is enough time, and I got a lot to do today. So thank you guys for joining, and I wish you well. Bye. Now I don't know how to end it. Well, let me do this. I can end this now. And that one.